Hey, this is Bree and Ashley with Stevens Real Estate at EXP.
You are listening to Hudson Valley Homegrown, where we talk all things real estate, growth mindset,
Women in business, entrepreneurship,
all in the Hudson Valley.
and good vibes all the time.
Hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Hudson Valley Homegrown. I'm Ashley with Stevens Real Estate, EXP, and we've got Brianna over here.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And this episode, we're kind of going to talk about a little bit about being a first-time home buyer, investing, what it's like to be a first-time home buyer in this crazy market, and how to kind of get started in the investment process if you're looking to build a portfolio or get a second property. And yeah, we've been getting a lot of questions, so we just want to break it down.
Yeah. So as a first-time home buyer, where do you start?
Oof.
Where do you start?
Well, you have to decide you want to buy something, right?
Yeah.
You
Always
work with
good
a lot
to
of
start.
first-time home buyers and people, especially out of this area. So what do you recommend people do?
Contact us. No, honestly though, whether it's us or another agent, the first thing I'd recommend is working with a professional real estate agent, especially in today's market or in any market, but today's market's very competitive. So you really want to get yourself an agent. You want to speak to a lender. If you don't have any lenders, then the agent can recommend lenders to you, and you break it down. You start with
Honestly, too, like interviewing agents, like a lot of people think that like, oh, I mean, I think there's stats. I think it's like 67% of people will choose to work with the first agent that they meet. So it's super important to have, you know, someone that you can click with and also be personable. But if you don't like the agent that you met on Zillow or met through an open house, like there's so many other options for agents. And it's super important in this market to have someone that can represent you on your behalf and get deals done. First of all,
Yeah.
that's like number one.
Yeah, open communication, sees your vision, wants to go the distance because it's definitely a journey, and somebody that's going to take you to the closing table.
Yeah, cool. So after you pick us, for sure, we'll get you set up with how you're going to be purchasing and meeting with a lender. And we have all referral partners. We have a lender company specifically that has multiple streams of lending and all different kind of stuff. So we have everyone to get the deal done. And then I guess the next step is just finding out and narrowing down what you want in a home and knowing, you know, that in this market being super competitive, you might not be able to get everything you want. So that's like just setting expectations aside is like, I guess, second key point. Like whatever your expectations are for buying your dream home, just fucking throw them out the window because it's probably not happening in this market. And if you want to buy, then you have to realize that, right?
Well, I think it's important. A lot of people have a idea in their head when they're starting out, which is completely different to what they end up purchasing. So I think it's really important to just get out there and start looking, you know, and again, narrowing down your price point, how many bedrooms, what town you want to be in, which is something else that we could assist with. A lot of our clients are from the city and they're not familiar with the Hudson Valley. So it's oftentimes that we feel like we're tourist guides, but we love that. And yeah, just getting out there and start viewing properties together.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're looking to invest in this area, I mean, there's so many awesome things happening. We're a huge second home market. So a lot of people will come here to buy second homes. And that's also what adds to the competitiveness about being a first-time home buyer in a market where there's a lot of second home buyers, people from all over the globe, really, with tons of cash. So just knowing what you want and knowing to compromise, I think that will allow you to get what you want ultimately and just trust us through the process and know that we kind of just are here to have your back and
and
make
one
it
of
happen.
the major things obviously is when you find the home that you like is making the offer on it. So it's not just as easy as like, I like that home, I'm going to offer money and walk away with it. Especially in today's market, there's multiple offer situations and, you know, price isn't always a driving factor to getting your offer accepted. So if you have an agent that's willing to work with you and for you, there's certain things that they could do, which we're not going to reveal our secrets, but
taking care of cats sometimes or not developing or
finding out what's important to the seller.
Totally.
You know,
I have a crazy story. Actually, I just talked to a lady for like 20 minutes this morning and she wants to purchase a house in silver. And I'm going to negotiate the deal to try and get it done. But like, just thinking outside of the box and doing things that other people aren't doing.
Right.
Like if someone said to a normal real estate agent, hey, I want to buy a house in silver, they'd probably say, go fuck yourself and never call you back. But silver is a commodity and they're not making more of it. And I said, well, sure, I'll come to your house and I'll see all your fucking silver and we'll make it happen. But Like, I don't know, just random stuff.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. And let's pull up a question.
Well, so I always get this question, like, and I think it's important to share too, is the different aspects that go into purchasing a home, that we're not just like door openers, and your real estate agent is really going to be the one that coordinates all the different parties of the transaction, which are, you know, the lender, the inspector, the appraiser, both attorneys, buyer and seller, both agents, buyer's agent, listing agent. And you know, if any one of those moving parts is delayed or falls off, it can delay your closing by months. So as an agent, I think it's just important that you're, or as a client, I think it's important that you're aware of that, because there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to getting the job done.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of clients are kind of operating in a state of like panic and being reactive in the market right now, especially. It's like, they see what's new on Zillow and they want to see it, and they want to see it today, and they want to see it yesterday. And if you can't get them in, they're panicking, freaking out. But just knowing the role that we have as agents in coordinating this whole process for you, and just trusting us that we're not the only people that can get you into that property. Like, there's so many steps that we have to go through just to get you in the door.
It's got to be coordinated between the seller, the seller's agent, and us, and your schedule. So that's 4 different schedules that you're coordinating through. And it ends up being a breeze, and we get it done. But it's just a lot behind the scenes. So
yeah. Okay, cool. Here's like a cool question. So what are some common misconceptions or myths that first-time home buyers and investors should be aware of, and how can they avoid like falling into these traps? So what's some myths? I guess a big myth that I always hear is like the amount down that you need to purchase a home.
Yeah.
And I think knowing that your realtor has good lender partners and knowledge of the market. I mean, you can buy a home with as little as 1% down, even 0%, honestly, if you're doing a VA or USDA loan. So there's a lot of homes that will have 0% down, and you know, they're being more common too, that you can get them accepted. But yeah, as little as 3%, you can buy an investment property with as little as 3.5%. If you're willing to live in it for a year, or just get some mail there. But yeah, so I think that's a big misconception. A lot of people think that buying a home is like this huge, like crazy process. And a lot of people I think are overwhelmed, especially if you're renting and you're not, you know, you just think it's a big step to take, which it is, but you
and
really
most of the time, if you're affording, you know, $2,000, $3,000 a month rent, you can use that towards a mortgage payment.
Totally.
So, and as a first-time home buyer, there's like a lot of programs out there that, you know, not only through the state, but other lenders too, that will assist you in moving forward.
Yeah. So there's so many options, and like obviously connect with us directly, but buying down a rate, getting some programs that will give you kind of a locked in rate, giving some concessions towards closing costs. Like there's a lot of ways that we can creatively help make sense of a deal for you if the property, you know, is available.
Speaking of rate, you just touched on that. We might as well address the elephant in the room with this current market.
Gotcha.
So, you know, interest rates are above 7%, and we hear it all the time, like, oh, I can't buy, interest rates are so high, when historically, like the national average is 8%. And there's a saying, you know, marry the house, date the rate, because you know, get the house, a couple years later, you can refinance when the rates go down. Also, you know, in this competitive market, a lot of buyers drop out. So that's a good thing for somebody that's like actively looking or serious about buying.
People do get cold feet, and you know, a lot of times they'll have an accepted offer and then decide like, oh, this isn't the property for me. And then it's fully available. So you know, we try and stay in front of the property, but yeah. I know the rates are kind of, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Right? What are you going to do? Like,
it's a good time. It's always a good time to buy.
Yeah.
And that being said, most importantly, the appreciation is up, what, 9?
Yeah. So I think right now it's around 10%.
10%.
So historically, So appreciation, I guess let's touch on that, right? If you own a property, it appreciates year over year. Real estate is your safest investment since, I don't know, the beginning of history, whatever the quote is. But yeah, so overall, I mean, 6 to 7% is pretty average based on, you know, history. During COVID and the pandemic, like homes were appreciating up to 30%, and they still are. Like if you're buying a home and you're doing work to it, and it's all about location, pricing, like it's all about the things that are around it and the work that you're putting into it. And ultimately, if you buy, and you hate it in 2 weeks, like you can sell it.
Yeah.
And we can help you with that.
And make a profit off of it too.
And just like, for me personally, like getting into real estate was about me buying and selling and cashing out when I bought something and then sold it, got cash to do it again and do it again. And that's just what I love about it. And, people are super concerned about this market and things like the bubble popping or whatever. But like historically, like that's not going to happen. There's a lot of different factors and we can dive deeper based on, the trends and the data that are pointing towards a market crash. But obviously overall we have low inventory right now.
Yeah.
We've
got everybody coming out of the city, which is like, I hear this all the time that the Hudson Valley is like in its own little hub. So a lot of stuff that's happening outside of the Hudson Valley doesn't necessarily relate to this area.
Yeah.
And it's the millennials that are the biggest buying group from now for like the next 10 years, I believe. And they've got about 40% of all the mortgage applications right now. And they're just going to continue purchasing. So,
and I feel like millennials, people don't know, but it's like between 25 and like 45. So that's like a big group of people.
It's a very big group. It's
bigger than the baby boomers.
The baby boomers, yeah.
Baby boomers.
Baby boomers.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a good time to buy if it makes sense for you. And obviously us being your agents kind of can help navigate whether it's a good time to buy now or 6 months from now or a year from now or, just
we really partner up with the client and the lender and figure out what works out.
Looping everybody in and just whatever makes sense for you. Like, it's not really about the sale for us. I mean, ultimately, we want to get you into something that you want, can afford, and be comfortable with. But yeah, it's not. I feel like for us in our office and our team, it's never about the sale.
No,
like we don't care about that. So cool.
So you're a first-time home buyer, and you have an accepted offer. Ooh. What's next?
Okay, so my offer's accepted. Fuck yeah! Don't get too excited.
Not yet. Not till contracts.
No. So your offer's accepted, right? In this market, you want to move super quickly, of course.
Turnaround is typically a 60-day close. So you'll be closing in 60 days.
Yeah.
If all goes well.
Yeah. I guess we should break it down. New York State, obviously things are a little bit delayed because we do a lot of stuff through attorneys. So after your offer is accepted and we do our due diligence period, meaning home inspection, any contractors or any other parties that you want to get into the property to make sure it's secure and what you want.
So after an accepted offer, you have about 5 to 10 days to host an inspection, which is when they're going in and they're examining each aspect of the house from electrical to septic, well, structural. And after the home inspection, if the report comes back good, you're good to go. You move forward. If there's some issues, that's when you can renegotiate, ask for a discount on the offer price. And, then inspection wraps, and then next would be
so contract. In New York State, we partner with attorneys. A lot of other states are a little bit differently, but in New York State, you don't have to use an attorney, but if you want to close on a property, you'll use an attorney to facilitate the process. So after that, the contracts are being prepared. The seller's attorney will always prepare contracts, right? So the seller's attorney is preparing the contracts. They're being sent to your attorney that you're choosing to represent you on the buy side. And then you'll be signing first, wiring or sending a deposit down payment. And then the sellers will be countersigning. So in this time, it's super important because in New York State, anything can happen. Until contracts are fully executed by both the buyer and a seller, like someone can come in cash over what you just asked and your offer doesn't even matter. You did your home inspection, it doesn't even matter. So a lot of people think that this time is the time for them to be lax and just like really feel out if they want it or not. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that in this market because anything can happen. And that's why we say don't get too excited. Like lower your expectations because literally it's crazy out there. So you have to be on top of it. But so once the contracts are fully executed, you can like take a breath and like relax.
Then the bank will order the appraisal, which is when the bank's appraiser comes in and assesses the value of the property, make sure that it's worth what they're going to be lending you. And then after the appraisal, you're pretty much...
Yeah. So basically the appraisal is done through the lending institution. If you're putting 50% down in cash or more, the appraisal won't even matter.
Right.
But the banks will want to appraise the property value and making sure their investment is legit, right? Especially because of what everything happened in 2008. Like the banks are super strict. So they're not coming in with these crazy appraisal numbers. They're pretty close to the purchase price, sometimes a little bit more. And we very rarely see them coming in under, but it is
And that's another reason why you need an agent.
Yeah.
I've had like 3 come in under and then I've got to go back in and negotiate and ask the seller to bring the price down or
Totally.
ask for another appraiser to come in, which I've done too and won it. So
anyways,
yeah.
you never know.
Topic. You never
know. But yeah, so, and then your attorneys will have a title company represent you. Basically the title company is searching any and all history of the title of the property, making sure that when you buy the property, it's fully going to be yours. Like no one's going to come after you in 10 years and say, hey, like my uncle said this property was mine and now you owe me this property. So they're searching title, and then also municipals. And municipals is tricky. And it varies on town to town. Municipalities are all different. That's basically just making sure that if there was any work or improvements onto the property, it was properly permitted and closed out, making sure there's no open COs or anything like that. Obviously, like if there's a fence, like it has to be within the property lines, like all those things is done on the back end. And the attorneys, you can pick any title company you want. We have good title companies that we can recommend. But that's all being done to check out the property, making sure there's not going to be any hiccups after purchasing.
And it's like almost good to think of it as like an insurance.
It is.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's to ensure that like this will be your property and no one's going to take it from you.
Yeah.
And then, so that takes about, I'd say like 3 weeks-ish in a good world. And then after that, you kind of can just schedule closing.
Yeah.
And before closing, we do a final walkthrough of the property, making sure everything's the same as it was before.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, like because this market's so tight, you're really looking at the property 2, maybe 3 times before closing. So kind of scary to a lot of people, right? You walk into a house and you're like, okay, I want to make an offer. Okay, check. You saw it once. Yeah. Okay, we do an inspection. Check. You saw it twice. And then you don't get to see it again until you close.
Yeah.
And then like lucky for me, like when I was buying, I was like, I want to go back in. Like I want to like check it out. So I feel bad when people can't, but
I know. Sometimes we can arrange it, but somebody else owns the property until you close. So
totally.
It's really important that, you do your due diligence and follow through with the inspection. Yeah. But in a crazy market like this, things are moving fast. So.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, likely our goal is to get you into a property in 60 days if you're mortgaging. If you're, financing with cash, if you're not, having a mortgage, we can get you in as little as 21 days. So cash is king, always. Okay, Ash. So Hudson Valley is like a crazy area. There's so much land to cover. Are there any specific neighborhoods or towns in the Hudson Valley that are popular among first-time homebuyers? And what kind of are the different areas that you find most people looking in?
Yeah, definitely. So we see a drive towards more of the cities, like Kingston, I would say is more of like an artsy, younger vibe. It's great because you've got like 10 minutes to access everything, but then also another 10 minutes and you're in the country. I would say the little hamlets, Catskill, Hudson, New Paltz, Highland's a big one. It was just voted top 10 town by the New York Post.
I feel like we have a lot of areas too, like people will flock towards that are close to a train station.
Yeah.
So anything anything that's near a train station is always super popular, especially for second-time home buyers, because a lot of people will commute here, spend the week, work from home, and then go back to the city. So there's a lot of towns that are near a train station, and a lot of people take the bus too. So they're on the, geographically, I don't know what side of the river, but on the other side.
Well, they're on both because you can
take the bus.
Ulster or Dutchess, yeah.
Okay, so there's buses.
They run, along the Hudson River, either direction. The train is only on the Dutchess County side.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of towns that have like a lot of hype, and for good reason. But I think having an agent that knows the little like ins and outs
of the areas,
right, of the area like outside of those hubs is super key, because all the areas get populated and then the price points get elevated. Like for example, Woodstock, everyone loves Woodstock. That's actually not where Woodstock happened, by the way.
Yeah,
but Woodstock is super populated, and you can't touch anything less than like 500,000 or 600,000. Like it's crazy.
And we have alternatives too. So if you want to be like near Woodstock, but you can't, that's out of your price point or it's too competitive, we can guide you to the surrounding towns. But yeah, I think it's really client specific too for what they're looking for, their individual needs. Do they want to be more, in the country? Are they looking for more of the city? And we take all of that into consideration.
Yeah. And I feel like we're the local experts in the market, right? I've lived a lot of places in the Hudson Valley, and we're all over. So we know all the good restaurants, we know all the good hikes, we know all the good spots that you need to go to and recommend, and we can definitely steer you in the right direction. And also we have a community guide that'll link in our bio, so you can take a look at, some of the different things to do in each community.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let's see. So maybe let's talk a little bit about investing, just if people are looking to kind of start an investment in the Hudson Valley. I know this is super popular. Now Airbnb's kind of iffy. You have to have like a really chic,
It's just gotten
cool,
very regulated each town too. And
I feel like the regulations
flooded.
are changing every day, and every town is different. And just because you buy something, it could change. But
yeah.
Airbnb has been huge in the Hudson Valley, especially during the pandemic. But yeah, if you're looking to, get started in investing in this area, what are some opportunities that you can kind of, I don't know.
Well, right off the bat, I think is obviously rental market. Mm-hmm. It's a great turnaround. Market rates the market rents are up. And
you do a lot with rentals.
I do a ton with rentals.
Yeah, so we have a property management company, and Ashley's like the go-to. So
Marty.
Get it.
Shout out to Marty.
Okay, so talk about rentals. Because if people want to rent, right? If you want to rent up here, you don't want to buy yet.
Yeah, a lot of the, with the market rents up, it's really, and of course, interest rates up and people moving to the area. Again, just like house sales, the rental market is tough too. It's very competitive. So we do a lot with rentals. As far as the tenant side go, it's great. We let us know what you're looking for. We have about 80 different properties in-house that we manage. And then we can also get you into any other property that's listed in the Hudson Valley. And then as far as the investment side of it, it's just like a sure thing. It's, and of course we do all the screening, we do all the showings, credit, criminal background check. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's the top investment, I would say. A great way to.
Yeah. And I feel like what's awesome about Hudson Valley and investing in this area, right, is like, okay, cool. You want to get a property, you can short-term rental. If that doesn't work out, just make sure that you're checking all the boxes, and us as your realtors is going to be able to help you maximize your investment and know that, hey, if that Airbnb totally isn't booked ever, like, hey, you can do a long-term rental and we can get someone in there for you and it's going to make sense.
Yeah. And I think the average turnaround that I've been seeing is like within 2 weeks. Like, and that's pushing
that's quick for a rental.
Mm-hmm. Most of them are getting, rented within a week. So,
yeah. And I wanted to talk about investing in the Hudson Valley in terms of land, because I sold a piece of property about a year ago. My clients actually just sent me a super cool picture of their tiny home that they had.
I love tiny homes.
So let's talk a little bit, because I know a lot of people now with the market and the prices being crazy, like they think, ooh, let me buy land and build something. Mm-hmm. What do you say about that?
Well, first I just want to go back to the renting. I think it's important, and we stress that can easily turn into a nightmare if you don't have somebody that's working behind you and you try to do it on your own and you rent to any Joe Schmo off the street, especially in New York. It can tie up your property. It's hard to get them out. And so
hire a property management company.
Yeah, hire us.
I always skip ahead.
So there's 2 levels of it. So we can do just strictly tenant placement, where we handle all the showings. Most of the time we'll do a rental open house, get it rented right away. And that also includes all the screening process to make sure that you get a qualified tenant. And then the property management side of it is that including managing the property. So we set all the tenants up in a tenant portal. They're able to pay their rent. They're able to submit a maintenance request, which is something also that we handle. So essentially the landlord is like hands off.
We got people that know people,
Yeah.
It's been better though after the pandemic. It's been a lot better for landlords, and obviously New York State is super strict with their tenant landlord legalities.
Yeah,
obviously it's been pretty hard as a landlord. So we have seen a lot of turnover in multifamily properties, which is another reason why just working with us and having that property management, like, hey, we probably have a property that will fit your needs, whether or not it's on the market or not. We definitely have something.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's, multifamily, single family, apartment, like
anything.
Right
we
now,
rent it all.
Yeah. And it will maximize your profits, especially in today's market.
I mean, a lot of rentals, just to touch on the rental market. I mean, some were getting rented for $4,500 a month, which a lot of people, you're you could raise your eyebrows like, whoa, that's expensive. It is, but people pay it.
It's the rate, yeah.
And it's the rate, and the market values right now for rentals is a lot. So a lot of people, I guess, just comparing and contrasting what really is going to make sense for you. If you're renting at $4,500, you can easily get a mortgage, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, then rent for $4,500.
If you're renting for $2,000, you could easily get a mortgage. $2,500.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's all just the process.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people now, I get a lot of questions, right? A lot of my clients that are looking to buy and they're like, oh, this house is X amount. Like, what if we just bought land
and built?
Okay.
So buying land and building, there's, well, if you're cash, that's a completely another story. But
Right.
if you are needing to get a mortgage, you're going to have to plan on, buying. First of all, it's 40 to 50% down. For land because the bank doesn't deem it as like an asset. They can't really turn around and sell it just like they would a single family home. So that's important that you're aware of that. Also, there's a lot that goes into land. It's not just like, if it's raw before you build on it, you've got to get it surveyed. You've got to get the proper Board of Health approvals. Is it wet? Are you able to do an in-ground or above ground septic? There's a lot that goes into it. So again,
I guess a lot of people think that they're going to be saving costs, right?
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
In fact, we just had a meeting with,
they think it's going to be more cost effective.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be not as more cost effective, and it's definitely going to be more of a headache because you have to literally, not only are you getting the land and then you're building, but when you're working with the bank, they're going to be there every step of the way. So you're meeting deadlines.
They're like literally over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like making sure everything checks out.
Yeah. Qualified contractors, fully insured. They're on a timeline. And, contractors are there to build. They're not there to fill out like paperwork from the bank. So it's definitely, it's a lot.
I think like just as a rule of thumb, like if you want to buy land and build a house, like you must be like super picky and not be able to find something, or you have a lot of money.
Or you're in it for the long run. It's definitely, I mean, it's wonderful. I think I've got a client now that's doing it and, they're just really excited to build their custom home, like exactly
I think
how
that's
they
what
want
it is. Yeah. Like if you want, whatever features that you want in a property and you can't find it, building is amazing. And there has been more and more new construction popping up in the Hudson Valley too. So if you are interested in a new construction, partnering with a builder locally is going to be so much easier because you're buying it almost like a straightforward purchase.
Yes.
A lot of these builders will have this elevated kind of cost to the purchase price because they're doing all that stuff on the back end and it's easier for them.
Right.
Likely they already have plans and approvals and it's much easier.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a new construction, let us know. But buying land and building is a lot.
It's not the alternative to, I'd rather the client stay in it for the long run. Because if they think that they're going to get into building as an easier route, it's definitely not.
Especially not for a first-time home buyer. I feel like you need to have some type of level of like confidence in yourself and owning a home and a property and managing financial pieces behind it for sure.
Yeah. And they're not making more land. There's obviously, and a lot of the land in the area is protected. So what's out there is going quick, but it's, but it's great. It's great that there is a lot of new development going around. Yeah.
We need new construction to kind of get the market back to where it is because, just the level of inventory has been super tight for us, at least, mostly like worldwide, but in the Hudson Valley specifically, like we're down 40% from what we were last year. So,
inventory is short across the board, but we do see, I would say the house is under 500,000 going within 30 days. They're not even 30 days on the market.
Yeah. I mean, average days on market right now is around 45, but keep in mind, this is an average of like all the counties we kind of go over. So every county is a little bit different, but 45 days is a pretty good average of how long it takes us a house to get fully under contract from being listed.
Yeah. And most of them are going into multiple offers within the first week. So that's really the time that you get in there to view it and make your offer. Yeah. So keep that in mind.
And also like just a quick tip, like because the average days on market is 45, like for us as agents, if you're struggling in this market to find something, we can find opportunities for properties that have been on longer than 45 days. Like, hey, a lot of these buyers looking on Zillow, they just click new, like newest, and that's how they'll filter. But there's properties that are amazing and for some reason a deal fell through or the photos are shitty or who knows what, but there's a lot of properties that are pretty freaking awesome that have been on the market for longer and then you have a better chance of getting an offer accepted less than. Yeah. And I've seen this so many times and people are so thankful and sometimes people don't want to see it and our job as agents is to just fucking take you there and show it to you. Literally.
Surprise you.
Because people will be like, no, that's ugly. The photos are gross. Okay, it's a photo. Like,
let's go check it out.
Let's go check it out.
That brings up off market. So within our office, we have an off market channel, which is, we keep the properties in-house. Yeah. You avoid the multiple offer situation. They're not out there advertised to the public. So that's also another route first time or, whatever buyer you are.
I met up with someone yesterday and he was like, hey, like, what? Like, why would people want to sell their property off market? So, I mean, there's a lot of benefits for buyer and seller.
Yeah.
But the biggest for being a first-time buyer or an investor is that you get a property, you agree to purchase it for whatever the seller wants, whatever we can negotiate for you, and you don't have anybody else competing with you for the property. That's like the biggest takeaway. Yeah. And the biggest reason to use us is because we have a huge team, a huge network of referral
33 agents in our
33
office.
full-time agents. Let's just preface that we're all full-time.
Yeah.
So we all know the market. We're all in trainings all the time. But having these opportunities for our buyers is key. Like if you like a neighborhood, like we're calling, we're door knocking, like we're doing shit that other people aren't.
Right.
Which I think is just huge. And just because we're like psycho and we love what we do, but like if you like it, like I call all day and people are, it's what we do. So if you like something, let us know. Right. We can find something for you that might make sense off market.
That's not necessarily, advertised online.
And
And then as a seller, you avoid the multiple showings, you avoid it being out, advertised out there to the public. And a lot of times we can get the deal done.
Right. But for a buyer, like just off market all day, baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's one tip? Like if you were a first time home buyer today, what would you do?
If I was a first time home buyer, I would definitely find my agent and sit down for a buyer's consultation so that we can get to know each other and they can get to know what I'm looking for to best cater to my needs.
Yeah. If I was a first time home buyer, I would let my agent buy me Starbucks. Most people don't let me buy them Starbucks.
You'll buy me Starbucks.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah.
Did Jordan let you buy him Starbucks?
No.
Jordan.
No. Most people don't let me buy them Starbucks, but if I was your agent, I'd buy you Starbucks and do all these cute things for you. Yeah, I mean, it's a good time to get in the market. And obviously, if you have any questions, we're here to help always. In our bio, we'll include, it's a high note presentation. It has everything from our community guide to all the different types of homes that you can purchase, all the disclosures that you're going to need in your, all the things, right? So we'll have it linked in our bio. As always, we'll see you on the next episode. You can follow us on social media. My Instagram handle will be in the link below, Brie Bartletta and Ashley
HVNY.
Woo! Yeah. And we're local. So let us know any questions that you have, comment below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.